So what's going to happen in real estate in 2021? Well, Zillow has just released their predictions for 2021. And in this video, I'm going to go over them and I'm going to specifically relate them to Hudson Valley real estate. I'm Joel Craig, your guide to Hudson Valley real estate and lifestyle. And in this video, like I said, we're going to review Zillow's predictions. Now, just a little cautionary tale. Zillow, of course, makes their money off of selling your data to realtors like me. So it behooves them to have a rosy outlook on the real estate market. But be that as it may, they also have an incredible amount of data on who's looking, where they're looking, and so forth. So some of their predictions may be right on. A couple of them I have an issue. So let's get right into it. They start by saying demand continues to stay high and is expected to surge in cities as economies reopen. Annual home sales growth is expected to be the highest in almost 40 years. As life and financial certainty brings more sellers into the market to meet the heavy demand, and technology allows for faster connections with interested buyers. Even so, home prices, mortgage rates, and rents are likely to rise, bringing affordability challenges that must be faced. We expect 2021 to be a year unlike any other, as the housing market responds to the challenges and changing preferences that emerged in 2020. So I do share their optimism in general. I do think they are a little bit over optimistic. I'm not sure when they say that mortgage rates are expected to rise. I'm not hearing that anywhere. We expect them to stay pretty low, at least for the near future, and I would imagine for most of 2021. And it is true that certainly 2020 provided some challenges for people looking to sell their house or buy their house. So they're expecting 2021 to pick up all those people who, for whatever reason, financial or health reasons, weren't able to buy in 2020. But still, a year like no other. That could cut both ways. So their first prediction is that home sales growth will be the biggest since the 80s. And they say 2020 has been a remarkably strong year for the housing market, with sales on pace to grow almost 6% from 2019, despite essentially pressing pause for a few weeks in the heart of the shopping season. Zillow expects that mark will be shattered next year, forecasting 21.9% annual growth for a total of almost 6.9 million homes sold. That would be the biggest annual sales growth since 1983. So in 2019, 5.3 million homes were sold in the U.S. I don't see an increase of over 1 million homes being sold. I don't know where they're going to get them. As you can tell, there's not a lot of new homes being built. I think inventory will continue to be tight in 2021. And although 2021 will be a good year, we're not going to sell 6.9 million homes, just my opinion. And the second prediction is that demand for city living will surge in 2021. And they say in 2021, those that may have left cities temporarily during the pandemic will return as the vaccine becomes more widely available and local economies begin to open up again. Young adults move back with their parents at much higher rates this year than last. And the majority of this age cohort tend to be renters, and 46% of Gen Z renters tend to rent in urban areas, suggesting that when young people are ready to strike out again, they will return to amenity-rich cities. So there is some truth in that, but I do also believe a lot of those people who have bought, particularly here in the Hudson Valley, have learned to adapt to their jobs. They've worked from home for nearly a year now, and I don't think a lot of them will be going back, at least not full-time, to the city. But a lot of these Gen Zers, they call them, have taken a hit financially. So I'm not sure they're going to be ready to jump right back in and start renting until they've built up a little bit of a nest egg, a little bit of savings, because they've really been hit hard by this pandemic. So I don't think the urban areas are going to come back as strong as they predict in 2021. And the third prediction is buyers will have a harder time affording homes, especially with their first one. And we've certainly seen that here in the Hudson Valley as home prices have skyrocketed. A lot of the first-time buyers are finding themselves priced out of the market. With the inventory as tight as it is, their options are very limited. And I think that is going to continue, particularly if they have had some financial setbacks in 2020. The good news is that the interest rates are low, but also, I think we're going to see the banks tightening their credit a little bit. So it's going to be very difficult. I've experienced this with some of my clients, young couples that want to buy a place and start a family. It's very hard to find that first house. So I definitely agree with this one. 2021 is going to be a tough year unless you've got quite a bit of cash stashed away. And Zillow's next prediction is that addressing housing vulnerability will be a top priority as rent prices rise. And we've certainly seen that in places here in the Hudson Valley as more people have moved into the area, as housing prices and so forth have gone up. The rents have gone up, and it's become harder and harder to find an affordable place to rent for many people. And I do think that a lot of landlords have been kind of stuck in 2020, haven't been able to raise the rents, haven't been able to evict tenants. So I think that could be a result in 2021. Many of those landlords, once they have the opportunity, will probably try and raise the rents to where they need to be and to help make up their losses in 2020. So we're going to continue to have housing shortages and not a whole lot of options in affordable housing in the Hudson Valley. And of course, Zillow puts in a plug. They say moving will be a digital first experience. And that's very true. As the pandemic first hit and realtors weren't able to show houses, it became more and more important to market them online with, say, Matterport 3D tours and so forth. And that's a trend that's been coming for a while, and it's going to be accelerated. And the traditional role of the real estate agent is probably going to be reduced as people realize that they can do a lot of their shopping and a lot of their research online. So yeah, that's no surprise. And of course, Zillow is going to take the forefront in claiming responsibility for that. But we need to prepare for more people coming up here already knowing what they want or knowing what features they have, or perhaps even making an offer without physically seeing the place. That's definitely a trend that we've seen coming for a while now, and the pandemic has certainly accelerated it. And of course, they reiterate the next home shopping season will be the hottest in recent memory. Zillow expects a perfect storm of market conditions to create the hottest spring shopping season in recent memory, with sales happening quickly and above list price. And yes, we're likely to see that in the Hudson Valley in 2021 due to the lack of inventory. Certainly people who were considering putting their houses on the market may have held off because of the pandemic. Certainly we had a lot of surge of people who maybe previously had been sitting on the fence about buying a Hudson Valley home, and this just pushed them to make that decision a little sooner. So until we figure out how to move from the people who have the homes to the people that want the homes, and that is really a generational thing, with the baby boomers and so forth having a lot of the homes, and until they decide that they're comfortable moving, and in many cases it's difficult, they can't downsize because of the prices of the other homes have gone up so much, and there's not a lot of new construction for them. So a lot of times the only movement is either they move out of state, move out of the area, or pass away. And that's a long, slow process for all those millennials waiting to start a family, waiting to buy a home. So we are going to see, it is going to be hot next year. I don't think it's going to be as hot as Zillow says, but there's definitely some truth to that one. And Zillow parts with this, and they say that next year's buying season could be the last of its kind. Springtime has historically been the best time to list a home for sale, but homes have continued to sell quickly through the fall and into the winter this year in what could be a signal that typical seasonal trends may be fading somewhat. And we've certainly seen that around here. We've seen a busy season right through the fall and into the winter, partly due because of the lack of inventory. But I think people have gotten out of the traditional mode of, okay, let's look for a house in the spring so that we can be in the house when school starts in the fall for our kids. I don't see a lot of that in the Hudson Valley. People tend to buy when they're ready to buy. And regardless of the season. So it's certainly easier to show a house in the nice weather, and the house may look well. But I do think that the old traditional buying season is changing. It's being extended. It's being spread out longer. And that's just one of the many new trends that we're seeing in real estate today, particularly in the Hudson Valley. So if you like this video, hit like, subscribe to my channel. We'll be giving some more updates very soon on what's going to be coming in 2021.